And so what I wanted to explore on this call today was, how do we take a template that somebody else has already done a lot of the work for? Because if you don't have a template built out, like often like that's the workflow you need to get on paper, and it just takes brain power to do. Sometimes it takes a lot more, sometimes it doesn't take as much because it's like a more simple process. But what I have been finding with ChatGPT is that you can use it to generate frameworks based off of like context that it knows. Then you can also use it to prompt itself to create prompts that would then be used inside of the framework or template, if you will. So I'm showing how I'm doing it with one of these. So it's Story Circle. It's an approach of plotting that Dan Harmon, the creator of the TV show Rick and Morty, adapted from the hero's journey. It lays out the narrative arc that's commonly used by stories and myths from all over the world. The premise is that almost all forms of storytelling have a cyclical nature. Character venture force to get there they need. The character gets what they need, pays the heavy price for it. And so basically like a modified version of the hero's journey. Now, we've got what here is context that we can help with giving the AI in terms of giving a little bit more detail on what this is all about. So I'm first and foremost just going to go ahead and copy this context and open up a Jasper document so that I could start the process of how I'm going to approach building this out as a recipe. I'm going to have a ChatGPT doc open, fingers crossed that it's not a capacity and I'm able to get in. I'm going to open up my Recipe Rockstar Mastermind project, because I do recommend you guys keep your projects organized by just different sorts of things that you're working on, different books, different clients, that sort of thing. I'm going to open up this document and just start by pasting that in here. So this is going to be a story circle recipe. Oh, and go ahead and copy. See, that's too much right here. So I'm just going to leave that up top, tab back to Living Writer. And now I'm going to click create. So whenever you create something inside of Living Writer, it essentially pre-populates the entire outline. Yeah, there we go. So zone of comfort on the left-hand side, they want something, right? And so check this out. The nice people at Living Writer have already done a lot of the description and like the kind of the general idea about what this stuff is. So you've got like zone of comfort, right? Chapter 1, you would add your chapter in here with new. So as we start to fill out the content, we can put it there. I'll be adding like the prompts and stuff into here so that we'll be building out the series of prompts that we're making this with. Then we've got, they want something. Something is off balance in your protagonist universe or life. The protagonist wants something. This could be obsessing over someone they love, magical artifact, example in Harry Potter, external force, Hagrid, wizard, Harry. Each one of these sections is already coming with these levels of context. And that's what I'm looking for here. And rather than copying and pasting all of this stuff over, I actually haven't tried doing this with everything just yet. But if you go over here to story, to download, like I said, if you're writing a bibliography, like a biography or a thesis or something, and that makes more sense for you, maybe go and play around with the Living Writer template here in making a recipe if we don't get to that necessarily today. But when you export it, and as you fill out your Living Writer with contents, as you export it, you can export the entire story with chapter titles, chapter notes, and end of story, table of contents. This is going to give me everything I need. Okay, so you can see you export it, it's going to have your table of contents, but it doesn't have any of the chapter contexts there necessarily. Not a problem. All I'm going to do here then, I'm just going to copy and paste this over here. Take, for example, zone of comfort, and then I'm adding that over here. I'm just going to quickly now, new chapter, just they want something. Right here. So right here, I guess this might as well just copy and paste it into Jasper. I'm actually just going to do that so I'm not like overly repeating myself, because I think that'll just be a faster workflow on that front. So I'll start with zone of comfort. So that's just going to be phase 1 of the template. So zone of comfort, and copy that right here. So these are going to be the things that I'm going to want to be creating like a framework around, and ultimately like prompts to use this as something we can refer back to quite often. Zone of comfort, they want something right here. They enter an unfamiliar situation. You can see like a lot of this does have some parallel to the hero's journey, but just a different format for expanding on the story. So that the reason I want to do this now and why I like recipes so much is because I only have to do it once and then I can have it just copy paste like inside of Jasper in my account or in a Google Doc. Relatively speaking, I'm saving a lot of time by doing this for myself. If I'm going to write a lot of stories in this format, which I might, if this recipe works the way I hope it does. All right, so we go here, pay the heavy price. Just copying and pasting back and forth. No real rocket science going on just yet. So go back over, almost done. Forever changed. All right, reflection. We're almost there, guys, bear with me. Reflection. Going all in this last section, they kissed and made up, but show you reader the wholehearted looks like for these two. Put them through the ringer, it's your chance to make it up to you. Okay, cool. All right, so now we're set inside of Jasper. Got our story circle up top. What are we creating? So I'm going to start here and just say context, because whenever I'm writing, I'm wanting Jasper or ChatGPT to reference. I want it to start with, oh, it's like from top down and just make sure it's not looking too close. All the way back. And all right, so let's do this. What I want to do now, if I want to turn this into a recipe, obviously I would need ways to prompt the AI to help me with the different phases of this structure. So this is in Jasper right now, but I'm going to go ahead and copy this right here. I'm going to open up ChatGPT. I'm pretty sure this same approach will apply to creating frameworks for pretty much everything. So I hope that's you guys find this as cool as I do. This is like something I've seen the chat tends to be a little bit better at, but I want to try Jasper Chat as well, etc. Format that. Cool. Familiar situation. Want something here. All right, cool. At the top again. So context, zone of comfort. So here, I'm going to go ahead and do a space, do a little command symbol, and say, this way, if you guys notice that Jasper, like now, you can just have it type in all of these other, like anything you're in, like inside of Google Docs, you guys can write with Jasper. I don't know if you can do it actually inside of Living Writer. Maybe, aha, look at that. How cool is that? You guys can use Jasper. Pretty cool that you guys can now use Jasper inside of Living Writer, inside of Google Docs, inside of your Gmail, probably inside of pretty much every app. You might need to have the Jasper Chrome extension for this to be activated, but if you haven't seen that, pretty cool feature. Coming back, it's going to cause some issues if I'm pressing that button on accident. I'm going to say referencing context creates a, so I use this prompt command, whatever you want to call it, to make basically like a 10-part framework for a email follow-up series for real estate agents doing like lifestyle email follow-ups or leads that are considering moving to their city. Like legit made like 10 fresh templates with this prompt based on like pretty much nothing. So I started that template that I just pasted in there with hopefully what I'm going to find after this, but I'm going to say referencing the content above, create a templates for story, circle, storytelling framework that includes prompts inside each section that AI can use as reference points to prompt itself to write the content. Okay, I'm gonna start with this, because I think chat will run it. Perfect. So what chat is doing right now is it's taking that context that we had above, and now it's coming back in and it's bullet pointing out what can be viewed as prompts for each section, right? If you have a zone of comfort, it's saying, okay, inside of this zone, knowing what I just was giving it above, you want to introduce the protagonist and describe their everyday life. Like we say the same, basically the same prompt in the hero's journey, like ordinary world, introduce your protagonist, right? And so now I'm breaking down that template from the Living Writer, the Story Circle, Dan Harmon's structure for the show Rick and Morty, which I'm sure other people have modeled for creating other shows. And I'm breaking it down the first time for these prompts inside of each section based on what I need for that section. Now, I might want to expand on this a little bit, but that was step one where I started like playing in chat. And I was like, that's pretty cool. I don't know, like, if anyone else think that's kind of cool that chat's able to like reframe and build these on top of it? Let me know if it's giving you any ideas for other like frameworks that you're going to test this out with.